So today I'm previewing the Jacksonville Jaguars and their 2020 season. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. I've got plenty more coming over the next few weeks. Hope you enjoy.
Is it getting cold in here?
So the Jags went 6-10 in 2019, and their notable wins were against the Titans, the Colts, and the Broncos. They obviously traded away Jalen Ramsey mid-season to the Rams, and despite an underpowered roster, they punched well above their weight, I'd say, to 6 wins, and they discovered their quarterback for the season, Gardner Minshew, and potentially into the future, and he seems to be a real fan favourite. So their schedule for 2020 is slightly on the easy side. It's the 11th easiest strength of schedule in the NFL. Their hardest games coming against all the AFC South rivals. They've got to play those twice. And they travel to the Ravens and the Packers, and they host the Steelers. But apart from that, not too hard a schedule for 2020. So Nick Foles started as quarterback in 2019, but he was awful before he got injured. They went 0-4 with him as a starter. In comes Gardner Minshew, the jorts-wearing, moustache-bearing, fan-favourite quarterback, and he did fairly well with what he had on offense. He was a 6-6 record as a starter with 21 touchdowns to 6 interceptions and 3,200 yards. For a quarterback who only started 12 games, these are pretty incredible stats. You know, this is his rookie season as well. We're not talking about an experienced quarterback who's come in and just put up these numbers. This is a rookie quarterback stepping into an NFL environment on a fairly underpowered roster, and he's putting up these numbers. So I'd say these are pretty good stats. And his ability to tuck and run was also evident when needed. He racked at 350 yards, but ball security was a bit of an issue for him in 2019. He had 13 fumbles, which was tied fourth most of NFL quarterbacks. However, for a 6th round pick, don't forget, he's not some first round talent coming out of college. He's a 6th round pick. He's done a great job. I think he can only improve his game personally moving on into 2020. I don't know about the rest of the roster, but him, I can certainly see a lot of upside to his game. So do you think that Minshew is the future of the Jags, or do you think they will look elsewhere after the 2020 season? Let me know now in the comments, what direction do you think the Jaguars will go in? So despite all the rumours about Leonard Fournette wanting to trade and going elsewhere and everything, I think he will still be running back 1 in 2020, and they'll hope that he can be as productive as he was in 2019 with 1,600 all-purpose yards. Certainly a good season for him. And also the wide receivers performed pretty well in 2019. There was 3 starters. They combined for 2,300 yards. Keelan Cole chipped in with 360 yards. The trio of Westbrook, Chark Jr. and Conley worked really well, and all of them are returning for 2020 with the addition of Laviska Shenault from the draft. So Gardner will definitely have some decent weapons to be using in 2020. The O-line were fairly average in 2019. They blocked fairly well on the whole, but nothing special. There's no real standout player on that offensive line, but all 5 of them do return for 2020. So as I've mentioned in the past, this can only be a good thing, working together again. Leonard Fournette's still the running back. They know where he wants to hit his holes, and they all know the scheme and the plays better. So this is a good thing moving forward into 2020 to be able to retain all 5 of your starters on the line. So on the defensive side of the ball, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are slowly disbanding. They were prominent again in 2019, but who knows for 2020. You've got Calais Campbell. He contributed 6.5 sacks. He's been traded away. Yannick Ngakoue, who had 8 sacks in 2019, wants to be traded away. He's unhappy with the Jaguars organisation, having problems with the people high up on the board. But they still have Josh Allen. He looks to be their edge rusher of the future. He's really promising. He had 10.5 sacks in 2019. And then you add to that, they added Devon Hamilton, defensive tackle from Ohio State, and also edge rusher chaisson from LSU, who won the national championship. And this kind of makes me think that Ngakoue will definitely leave at least before the trade deadline, because they have used some of their draft capital early on to target that defensive end position. In the linebacker spots, Myles Jack is insane when he's fit. He's an absolute beast. And they've just added Joe Schobert from the Browns, who had 4 interceptions and 130 tackles in 2019. He's put up some incredible stats. He was a star on a pretty weak defense. And the secondary loses AJ Bouye at cornerback, who's been really good. But it adds a top quality player in Henderson, cornerback from Florida Gators. He's got really good size and speed to him. He's got tremendous upside, and Trey Herndon looks very good on the other side of the defence as well, with 3 interceptions and 13 passes defended in 2019. The safeties are 2 young, promising players who contributed a nice amount in 2019. PFF said that they were the 27th overall secondary in 2019, but with some personnel changes, could they be better in 2020? We'll have to wait and see. Who do you think will make the biggest impact on the Jaguars in 2020? Let me know now. So on the coaching side of things, and Doug Marrone is going into his 4th season as head coach. He's definitely had some mixed results so far. He made the conference championship game back in 2017, which was great for the Jaguars, but he's been last in the division the last 2 years, and I'd say he's a real hot seat candidate for 2020. If there's going to be many coaches looking over their shoulder this year, Doug Marrone is certainly going to be one of them. Then the offensive coordinator, Jay Gruden, he's got something to prove in 2020 after he was fired from the Redskins last year. He's going to bring in a West Coast offense for 2020, so we'll see how that one plays out, see how Gardner Minshew can adjust. You've got defensive coordinator Todd Wash entering his 5th year with the team, and he had one of the best pass rush units in 2019 and the last few years, to be honest, but he's been weak at defending the run, so there's a real emphasis on 2020 to sort that out. So looking towards the transactions for the Jaguars in the 2020 offseason, and they've made 3 fairly high-profile trades. Calais Campbell was traded away to the Ravens for a 5th round pick, Nick Foles to the Bears for a 4th rounder, and AJ Bouye to the Broncos for another 4th rounder. And me personally, I feel like they've massively undervalued these players. Calais Campbell racking up loads of sacks. AJ Bouye has been a star of that secondary the last few years. Admittedly, Nick Foles was pretty awful at the start of this season, so okay, maybe a 4th is acceptable for him. But certainly Bouye and Campbell, they are real studs on a defense that was fairly good coming into 2019. And I just do think that they've massively undervalued these players, but we'll wait and see. So I've already touched on some of their draft players. You had CJ Henderson, tall with great reach and loads of passes defended at Florida. Chaisson, defensive end from LSU. He's got a bit of a slighter frame, stays low to the ground, and he's very quick getting around the offensive tackles. Laviska Shenault, wide receiver, already adds to a good group. And then Devon Hamilton to improve the interior D-line. I'd say their best pickup, though, however, was Shaquille Cortman, linebacker from Miami, and he made over 100 tackles with 15 tackles for loss and 5 passes defended in 2019. He's a really astute player. I think he was one of the biggest sleepers in the 2020 draft as well. So free agency in 2020, out, they only had really Jeff Swain, Marquise Lee and Nick O'Leary, so not loads of players, but they did bring in Tyler Eifert, Joe Schobert, Rashawn Melvin, Keelan Cole, and then they placed the franchise tag on Yannick Ngakoue, and they declined Leonard Fournette's 5th-year option, which was quite interesting to me. I know Fournette wants to move elsewhere, but I did find that kind of interesting. He has been fairly productive for them the last couple of years, but there we go. I certainly don't think this Jaguars team is playoff material by any stretch. Don't get me wrong, but I don't buy into the hype that they're going to be a 1-2 win team in 2020. I think they've got too much quality for that. I think their floor will be around 4-12, if it doesn't go to plan. But Doug Marrone's going to be fighting for his job. Jay Gruden's got a massive point to prove after being fired. And Gardner Minshew's going into his sophomore season after a really good rookie year. So I think they're only going to be as good as they were in 2019, if anything. But 4-12 if it doesn't work out. And I'd say their ceiling's 7-9, maybe 8-8 if they played exceptionally. I believe they have managed the trading situations awfully. Like I said, I think they've undervalued a lot of their players. Realistically, they had a lot of Pro Bowl talent on that roster, which has slowly been disbanded and traded away. But I think the Jaguars are a rebuild team, and I think similarly to the Dolphins, we could see the Jaguars coming good in maybe 2021, 2022 with another good draft and another good free agency perhaps, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Let me know now, how do you think the Jags will do in 2020? Comment U for under 5 wins, comment O for over 5 wins. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my assessment of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So thanks for making it to this stage of the video. As I've said, let me know in the comments what you think about the video, if you agree with my predictions, if you disagree, if you like the video style, and make sure to like and subscribe. I've got a lot more similar content coming out over the next few weeks. Until the next one.